Hello, everybody. My name is Deon Gibson. I'm the creative director here at New Vision Film.
And I'm Lapoint. I'm also an actress, script supervisor, production assistant, all the roles basically of New Vision Media. I'm also a 5th grade elementary school teacher in St. Pete and a community activist.
And today we're going to be talking about the long-awaited, long overdue, much anticipated new Batman movie, The Batman. All right off the bat, I want to know, Marvel or DC?
I'm going to get a lot of hate for this. I am a diehard Marvel fan.
Diehard Marvel fan. So we are already in the deficit. We are already in the negative already.
But I love movies. So, I go in with an open mind. Mm-hmm. So I'm not a typical Marvel person.
And listen, Marvel fans are some of the most, they want what they want and they don't want nothing else. I don't know who is the most demanding, Marvel fans or Star Wars fans. What do you think?
I would say more Star Wars
than
Marvel.
Fans? Marvel fans are pretty bad. They will tear you apart.
Yeah, we're rough.
So we're going to be talking about this new Batman movie today. And so I got a question for you.
Okay.
Of all the Batmans, from Keaton to, Clooney, now Pattinson, who has been your favorite?
Probably Bale.
The face?
No,
acting?
No.
The voice?
It was more the voice. I think it was more the grit of the way he played that character.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. I think that he was one of the first vengeance, angry, dark, I'm beating everybody up. Yeah, I think he was the first one. Everyone before him was very comical, fun, childlike. But when we went to Bale, that was a very different Batman.
Yeah, I felt like it shifted.
Yeah,
like Batman movie shifted at that point.
It did shift. My favorite is Ben Affleck. I thought that, he did a great job. And I think he had the right amount of anger, the right amount of vengeance in him. And I don't know, I think his personal life played, because around that time he was going through all this drama in his personal life.
So he brought that to
all that anger and whatever, to the character. So yeah, he's on. And I'm probably going to get all types of help for that. But yeah, Ben Affleck, it was and is my favorite Batman. I'm hoping that he gets one more shot at this character, just one movie with just him fighting crime. But I'm going to ask you 5 things that you loved about this movie, 5 things that you enjoyed.
Okay.
All right.
5 things.
5 things.
Starting with number 5. I think number 5 for me would be, I'm trying not to give it away, but there's a moment with the Riddler and another particular character in a jail cell. And just that little interaction of like what's to come. The car scene, that huge car scene with Batman and the Penguin.
That was a great car scene.
Oh my gosh. I absolutely loved that scene.
Go ahead. I'm
sorry.
Oh
no, I just absolutely love that scene because one, it showed it upside down.
Yeah.
And so you see the camera angles in that, and I like the big effects of the fire and everything being blown up, and Batman steps out of the car and you can see that he's kind of taken on like, I don't know, like I don't even know the word.
He became Batman.
He became Batman in that moment. You see the cape come out, and then he's walking with his boots in the water, and then you just see the face of the Penguin like, oh crap, he's coming.
Yeah.
So I love that scene.
Could you imagine pitching that scene to the studio?
Oh my gosh.
Them spending probably millions of dollars, days shooting that scene, and the director saying, hey, I want to flip this whole scene upside down. It's not going to be right side up. I know we're spending a whole lot of money, and this is the scene where he is kind of born again and he becomes Batman. But yeah, the whole thing is going to be upside down. I thought it was great because we were viewing the whole scene from the Penguin's perspective.
Right.
He was
so
upside down. Different point of view. And I think they wanted to deliver that level of fear, the same fear that Penguin is feeling. They wanted us to feel that. So I agree with you. That's one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
Again, I liked a little interaction with the Riddler in jail with Batman, although it was a little cheesy. I would have changed a couple of pieces as a directive point of it, but it was a moment to actually see Riddler with his mask off and just kind of watch him take that character and where he's going to go with it. Is he going to go more the psycho route? And then there's a little bit of that smile and that little suspense in there. So I like that part.
The glasses that Riddler wore, Jim Carrey's version of the Riddler wore the same glasses. So that was a nice tie in there that I noticed. And that scene right there drove me crazy. That was one of the scenes I did not like. It seemed like they were trying to recreate the scene with Heath Ledger and Christian Bale, because they had a very similar scene. Yeah. And the scene with Christian Bale and Heath Ledger was so amazing.
Yeah.
So it's hard.
Like
when
you
I saw
couldn't
that,
beat that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you,
that's it.
you
Right.
can't beat it. So
But
when
it was
I saw
more.
this
It wasn't
scene-
more so much the interaction between the two. It's just seeing that particular character, Riddler,
Yeah.
and see him evolve from just
a person.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. See him in a different light. So I like that part of it. And then of course the biggest thing about it is I love the real lifeness of it. So it had controversial issues in there, social justice type things. White privilege. They touched on corruption and gang life and just the realness of what happens even now in society.
I was kind of surprised that they went that deep
Yeah.
into the privilege of rich white men, how they can literally get away with murder
The
if you
elite.
have the elite. Yeah, how they can get away with murder if you have the right amount of money, if you had the right connections. And the Riddler's character, he came in to kind of disrupt all of that in the wrong way,
Right.
but his character represented, a lot of things that a lot of people are thinking. You have these rich white men who are literally committing murder, getting paid to cover things up,
And getting away with it.
and completely getting
Yep.
away with it. So I related completely
Yeah.
with Catwoman, where she was, fed up with all of
Right.
this.
When she said white privilege, I said, yes, go girl. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I loved how they jumped into that unapologetically.
Right.
So a few things that I love about the movie. I loved how this felt different from all of the other superhero movies that I've seen. This character right here is a very different Batman than what we're used to, which is a good thing. But I'm going to have to get used to this
Right.
version of Batman because it's so different from all the other versions
Yeah,
I've
we're used to
seen.
that superhero feel, and this is very different.
He felt like a person. He felt like a person who was dealing with trauma, had the weight of the world on his shoulders, and then he has to go and be the hero for his city because no one else was equipped to doing it. That first fight scene in the subway with him fighting the guys in the clown makeup, that kind of set the tone for the movie for me. The fight scene, it wasn't over the top. It wasn't, filled with special effects. It felt like a real fight scene, how a real person who wants to be a hero would fight. It felt like he was about to get hurt. I think he took a few punches, went down a few times. He got shot, but he got back up again. And I love the line when he had vanquished all the bad guys and the last one took off running.
Oh, yes.
The guy who he was trying to save looked up at him and said, "Please don't hurt me." The guy was afraid of him. And that was a tone through the whole movie, how he used fear and shadows and how fear is a tool that he can use against his enemies. And of course, he didn't hurt the guy he was trying to save. Another cool line, I think he said, these people think that I hide in the shadows. What they don't know, I am the shadow.
Yes,
Come on.
that was
I'm the
good.
shadow.
I like-
okay.
yeah.
Another thing I loved about this movie was the cinematography. There was one scene where Batman and Catwoman are on this balcony and they kiss. They're in silhouette and you have the background. It's probably 6, 7 p.m. The sun is going down. So there's these beautiful blues and oranges behind them. It's an absolute beautiful scene. But I loved how this movie was shot. It reminded me of Zack Snyder's style of shooting. There wasn't a lot of slow motion in this though. There was some very tight angles, a lot of depth of field when the characters, foreground is blown out, background is in focus and things like that. So they did some really cool things with the cinematography. Another thing I loved about this was his evolution. I think at the beginning of this movie, he was still figuring out how to become Batman in this corrupt city. And I think he was reluctant to become Batman. But at the end of the movie, I think he owned the character. The scene, the fire scene, the car chase, when he steps out of the fire and Penguin thought he was dead.
Right.
I thought that moment he's owning the character. Another thing I really enjoyed about this was seeing Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman. And it's strange because Catwoman is one of the only characters that, they switch out. Sometimes you have a black woman, sometimes you have a white woman. But I love seeing her as this character. She looked great in a costume. But what do you think about that? How sometimes we get a black woman as Catwoman, sometimes we get a white woman. Batman, he stays the same. Do you think?
I don't like that. I would like to see a black man being Batman. I want him
What about
to.
an Asian man?
Because I left the movie theater going, I really would like to see, and I'm hoping to see someday that we have maybe an Asian man, but I don't know. I really want to see a black man take on that role and be the main character.
Main character.
Character. Have more of a black cast.
More of a black cast. I got you. Well, Gordon, he was black. Of course, Zoe Kravitz is black as well. But I have a theory about this. I think in the hierarchy of all the superhero characters, two of the biggest ones, Batman Superman.
Yep.
I would say Iron Man comes in at a third, in my opinion. But seeing any of those characters played by any person of color, do you think we'll ever get to that point where they would switch out, say, hey, let's get a black guy, let's get an Asian guy, a Middle Eastern guy to play
Something.
any? Do you think the studios will ever get to the point where they feel comfortable? And it's two sides of it. The studios make these movies, but the fan base decide,
Right.
if it's popular, of success, if there's going to be
I mean,
another
Black
one.
Panther was a huge
Yeah,
deal,
it was huge.
you know.
But that character was a black man.
Right.
And that character is based in Africa, so that would tie into him being
Right.
black. But,
Right. But
again,
yeah.
all of these characters are fictional. They're all fantasy. They're all made up.
I mean, I hope that they start switching it up. I get tired of seeing the same white man as the main character. Just my opinion. I'm a little biased on that end, but
Counterpoint: Would you ever have a white Black Panther?
no.
No, never, never.
No, it wouldn't fit. It just
Christian Bale as Black Panther?
No.
You feeling that? One of the other things I loved about this movie is something that the mayor said. There was a scene where all the lead characters were in this huge stadium. An explosion goes off, chaos breaks out everywhere. Everybody's running. The cops are running, the civilians are running, everybody's scurrying. The mayor stops and said, why does everybody keep running away? Who's going to stand up for the city? So she walks out. And this is a black woman, by the way. She walks out there, puts herself in the line of fire for her city. She's trying to bring some order to all this chaos, and she gets shot. Gordon, he goes out, pulls her off the stage. But this scene is a foreshadowing of what's about to happen. So maybe 5 or 6 scenes later, Batman, he gets his butt kicked and he's laid out. Catwoman comes and saves him. They're in this huge arena. It gets flooded. Everybody is all over the place. Everybody's in danger at this point. And they're thinking, okay, we need to get out of here. Batman says no. He goes down into this flood. He falls, in the water, and he disappears for a second. So he could be dead. He could drown at this point. He emerges from the water. He goes over to rescue these people who are, trapped. He reaches out and he's holding a torch the whole time. So all you see is him in silhouette with this huge torch walking towards to save these people. It is an absolute beautiful scene. But he was doing exactly what the mayor said a few scenes before. Instead of running from danger, putting yourself out there, putting yourself in the line of fire and standing up for what's right. We talked about all the things, a lot of things that we liked about the movies. What are a few things that you would change if you could?
if I could.
If this was your movie, you were directing, or if you were a studio exec, what would you change?
What would I change?
Now, the people are probably going to kill you in the comments for this.
Y'all gonna kill me in the comments. Y'all gonna definitely kill me. Don't hate. The first half of the movie was very predictable.
The first hour and a half.
The first hour and a half was very predictable to me. I don't know. I had a hard time connecting.
Oh, they didn't kill you.
Yeah, I know y'all.
She's a
gonna kill
Marvel
me.
fan, by the way.
What? So, yeah, I'm a Marvel fan. But yeah, no, I at first, I was trying to connect the dots, and I did like the voiceover at the very beginning, though. It's just kind of setting the stage, but it seemed kind of predictable, like the other Batman movies, some of the murders and whatnot. It was a little predictable to me, the first half, but then I started to become a little more intrigued by second half, and I was like, okay, now I kind of see where the pieces are starting to come together. And it wasn't as predictable as I thought. A little bit of the interaction between Catwoman and Batman, I don't know, it seemed a little cheesy for me.
And yeah,
it was definitely
awkward.
cheesy. It seemed awkward and not organic.
Yeah. I felt, and it could just be me, I think that Robert Pattinson played the character awkward because he was this awkward kid, didn't grow up with his parents. I doubt he has a lot of social skills. On the other hand, you have Catwoman, who's out there.
Right.
She's out there. So I thought she played those scenes very well, and he was very awkward in all of their
Yes, and I think
scenes.
that threw me off. And there was a couple of lines that she said, and I can't remember them off the top of my head, but a couple of lines that just kind of seemed like, that's not. So some of the fight scenes, I think, were, I don't know, I think I was wanting more. In it, yes, I want it to be believable. Yes, I don't want it to be so superhero-ish, but it is a Batman movie. So I kind of was expecting a little more of a fight scene that was a little more, I don't know,
I have
believable
a question
in a
for you
sense.
about that. Is it because we were so used to seeing these grand, over-the-top fight scenes with all these visual effects and them breaking through walls and doing the stuff that humans can do, or were the fight scenes just not good? Which one do you think it is?
I think it was a combination of both, and it was Robert Pattinson. I don't know. I'm on the fence with Robert Pattinson right now. Some of the scenes were good. Like some of the fight scenes were definitely good. When it became a little more where he's coming into his own, but that beginning part, I was just like, where are we going with it? Where are we going?
Yeah.
So I kind of, if I'm going to sit for a 3-hour movie, I want to be on the edge of my seat.
Yeah.
Especially with any suspenseful crime drama series, I want to be on edge.
Absolutely.
I wasn't feeling that right at the very beginning with this movie.
Yeah. I'm on the fence with the fight scenes as well, because again, this is Batman. This is what he does.
Right.
He doesn't have special powers he fights and he kicks butt. So I felt the same way, and I don't know if it's, we're so used to seeing these over-the-top fight scenes, or the fight scenes just wasn't that good. But what I did, I said, Deon, this is a different movie. Enjoy the fight scenes for what they are. Once I did that, I saw, for me, it felt like this was a regular guy who didn't have superpowers fighting 5 guys at once. So he's going to take some hits. He's going to get knocked down. He's not going to, pull out a lightsaber. He's not going to, shoot lasers from his arms, anything like that. He was doing the best he could with the situation. And we never saw him training for any of this stuff.
Right.
We never saw any training. Like a lot of the other movies, especially with Christian Bale, they went through a whole thing with him training to become Batman. The same thing with Ben Affleck. He went through the whole, weightlifting and all that stuff, become Batman. And I think Pattinson's version of Batman was kind of thrusted into all of this, and he had to really quick get it together, or else he would have died at some point. One thing I noticed about this particular Batman, I thought it was the darkest, grimmest, ugliest, nastiest version of all of them. I think Batman changed right around Christian Bale's version.
Yeah.
Before him, they were very comical, fanciful. There were jokes in the movies.
Right.
Christian Bale's version, Christopher Nolan, they changed all of that. And I think this version of Batman even goes deeper into the darkness of Gotham City / New York.
Yeah.
I think everything that happened in this movie in Gotham has happened in New York for real, and it's still happening to some degree. The corruption there. One of the characters as well, I won't say who it is, gave me a lot of Giuliani vibes. There was this one of the police officers. He gave me a whole bunch of Giuliani vibes.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking when I was sitting there. Yes,
yeah.
I was like, oh, he looks familiar.
Yeah, very, very Giuliani. So this character, I think the whole movie pulls a lot of inspiration from the actual New York City and a lot of corruption that we hear about coming out of New York. So yeah, sitting through the movie, it is 3 hours long, by the way. That is the thing. I think this movie could have been a 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
It could have been a 2-hour movie. There was a lot of stuff packed in here, and I think they were trying to set up for the next movie. But yeah, there was a lot of stuff in here. But what do you think? Overall, what are your thoughts on the movie? Would you say, hey, you need to go see this?
Probably. I mean, I would recommend in a sense, but I would give some background.
Okay.
Like, yes, go see it for yourself, and you tell me what you feel, because I have mixed reviews. Mixed reviews.
Mixed reviews. From 1 to 5, what would you give this? 5 being the best action superhero movies, 1 being, of course, the worst.
I'm teetering between a 3.5 and a 4.5. Just because the first half. I think that first half, that set up that predictability. So maybe a 4.
4?
I'll go with a 4.
Okay, all right, that's more than I thought.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
3.5, 4. Mm.
So Lily would give this a 4 out of 5. I think I come in right around there as well. And the reason this doesn't get a 5 for me, number 1, I'm still used to over the top, big. So I have to change my taste. It's kind of like if you go to a restaurant and you're expecting steak, and they bring out the lobster. Hey, we're out of steak. You're gonna have to eat this lobster. I love lobster.
Yeah.
But I wanted steak.
Right.
So that's my problem. So I was expecting something a bit different. I didn't get what I wanted, but I still enjoyed the movie. Another thing one of my gripes about this movie, and this is just me, I am not a huge fan of Pattinson, but I'm a fan of Batman. So some scenes I wasn't feeling his portrayal of Batman.
I think of Patterson, I think of Twilight.
Yeah, I think of Twilight as well. But he's done some other movies, but he seemed very awkward in some parts of it. And he may have been playing that because the character was awkward. He was just becoming Batman. But yeah, his performance for me, it was awkward at some points during the movie.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, it was not a horrible performance. To me, it was just a bit awkward. But yeah, I would give this a 4 out of 5. I would definitely, tell people, go see it, go watch the movie, but be prepared. This is a very, very different Batman. This is a very different type of superhero movie. This is closer to the Joker than it is, in my opinion, to the last Batman movie. So overall, I would give this movie a 4 out of 5, just because of those two things, and they're small things. And but absolutely go see this movie. It is a great film, especially if you love detective or drama style movie. You know what else this gave me? You remember Equalizer with Denzel Washington?
Yes.
Yes, this gave me Equalizer vibes. Same dark, gritty feel, and this guy going in, just kicking butt left and right.
I probably won't see it again. I know. Just because I have mixed reviews on it, but I do encourage you to go see it. Keep the kids at home, please. And then let us know what you think in the comments. Please don't come for me. I know I'm a Marvel fan. I am not the one that you want to come for. But hey, I respect everybody's opinion.
Definitely come for in the comments, okay? Thank you all for watching. Check us out next week for another talkback / review. And see you guys later.
We're out.